Hi everybody, myself Mahmood Sheikh. I'm an auditing faculty for CA Inter. I hope you guys are all doing good. You're all safe, you're all secure, right? And also at the same time, we wish and we hope that you guys are doing great in the examinations which are going on. Now, let me directly come to the point. Why we are doing this video? Why we are coming before you through this video? So let me make the point very clear. So why we are coming before you? The main agenda why we are going to do this video is the auditing examination which happened on 16th of July 2020, 16th of July 2021. The auditing and assurance examination which was conducted on 16th of July. We want to analyze that question paper and bring it to your notice. Sir, from this question paper, how many marks are actually covered from our material? And how many marks are covered from the guest questions which we have given to you? So I hope you are all aware. We are going to give guest questions for each and every attempt. We will, depending upon our past experience, depending upon our professional judgment, depending upon our previous analysis of the previous question papers, RTPs and MTPs, we do a lot of background work, and then we develop a document called guest questions, in which we identify the topics which are having a scope of getting tested in the examination. So all is a background work we do for each and every attempt, and then we are going to develop these guest questions. So we would like to bring it to your notice through this analysis of this auditing and assurance question paper. Out of this question paper, how many marks were actually covered from our guest questions? How many marks are actually covered from how many questions are there in our material? These things we are going to bring it to your notice. That is going to be our main agenda. Nothing else. We are going to bring these information, these topics, these awareness before you. Okay. Hope this video will help you a lot. So let me directly go into the question paper without any delay. So guys, you are all aware. We all are aware that our auditing and assurance paper, it contains both MCQ oriented questions and other one is descriptive questions. So you all are aware MCQs paper is not readily available. So we are going to analyze only this descriptive part, which is totally there for 70 marks. So if you are able to see 70 marks of question paper we are analyzing. The remaining 30 marks, what happened to that? The remaining 30 marks will be tested in the form of MCQs and case study based MCQs. So that will not be readily available before us for the purpose of doing the analysis and all. So we are sticking our analysis to these descriptive part of 70 marks. So let us directly go into the question. Let us directly go into the question paper now. So first thing, as you are able to see, this is nothing but general instructions to the candidates. So this is not something which is of our concern. So let us directly go into the question. So as you are all aware, first question in the auditing and assurance paper will be true or false oriented questions. True or false oriented questions. Guys, let me tell you one point very clearly. This time, true or false questions are very much direct. True or false questions are what? Very much direct. So, as you all are aware, there will be total 8 true or false questions which will be given. Out of that, we are required to answer how much? We are required to answer only 7 questions. But before that, guys, before actually reading the questions, let me show you one more summary of this analysis. So if you are able to see this paper, out of this total 70 marks, if you are able to see, in the guest questions, we had, from the guest questions, we had 42 marks covered. From the guest questions, in the total, this MCQ, I'm speaking about excluding the MCQs. In this 70 marks of descriptive paper, 42 marks are covered from the guest questions. And here, 83 marks are there from the material. You can ask me, sir, how come 83 marks? The paper is for 70 marks. No, guys, this is including the choice. We all are aware that there will also be choice included. Yes or no? So just one simple example. So out of these 8 questions, we are required to only answer 7 questions. No. So like that, in total, 83 marks are directly there in our material. The questions are covered in the material. So 42 marks are getting covered from the guest questions and 83 marks including the choice, or including choice also we are telling, So this much 83 marks are covered, are these questions are directly there in our material. So that's why we always proudly say it is enough if you refer the material. Why? Because the evidence is before you. So most of the questions, not most, if you ask me, 95% of the questions are there in our material. Okay, so that's why we proudly say we develop our material considering all the sources and all. So that's why we say material is more than enough for you. So this, the evidence is before your eyes. So now let us analyze with this summary analysis, just a summary I have told you. Now I will analyze question by question also. So first let us start our discussion with question number 1, which contains 8 true or false statements. Out of that we are required to answer only 7 questions. So let us see that. First question: misstatement in the financial statements is always because of fraud. Misstatements in the financial statements is always because of fraud. Do you agree with this statement? The answer is obviously no. The statement is false here, right? So the misstatement in the financial statements is not always because of fraud. Misstatements in the financial statements can happen from error also, can happen from fraud also. And we know that fraud is something intentional, error is something unintentional. Simply you can write it, right? Next. Second question, true or false statement. The first auditor of a multi-state cooperative society will be appointed in the annual general meeting. Is it so? No. We have studied in our cooperative societies chapter, cooperative societies audit chapter, that the first auditor of a multi-state cooperative society will be appointed by board of directors. Yes or no? So the given statement is false. Subsequent auditors will be appointed in the AGMs, but not the first auditor. First auditor will be appointed by the board of directors in the case of a multi-state cooperative society. So the given statement is false, and explanation also you can write it comfortably. Next, C point. C statement. Assertions refer to the representations by the auditor to consider different types of potential misstatements that may occur. See, the thing which you have to concentrate here is that telling assertions are representations made by the auditor. Is it so? Obviously not. Assertions are something which are representations made by the management of the company, not by the auditor. Okay, assertions are representations made by the management, not by the auditor. This statement is also false. So you can write the definition. Assertions refers to the representations made by the management, not by the auditor. That explanation you can write it very much comfortably. Next, D. There is a very thin difference between advocacy threats and intimidation threats to an auditor while performing his duty. Do you agree with this statement? Yes. There is a difference between advocacy threats and intimidation threats. So we are all aware from the chapter nature, objective and scope of audit. Right. Advocacy threats means what? When the auditor is supporting the client's opinion without any reasonable basis. That is the example also we have seen when auditor is becoming the client's advocate, when the auditor is doing the representations on behalf of the client. That will cause an advocacy threat. Whereas intimidation threat means what? Auditor is prevented from acting independently. Auditor wants to act, but he is being threatened. So that we call it as what? Intimidation threats. Yes, there is a thin line of difference between advocacy threats and intimidation threats. We do agree with it. How we will write the justification for this? We will write what you mean by advocacy threats. Along we will write the meaning of advocacy threats. Along with that, we will also write a meaning of the intimidation threats. That itself will be suffice. Next, E. In stratified sampling, the conclusions drawn on each stratum can be directly projected to the whole population. See, in the classroom discussion, we have discussed one concept, projection of the material misstatements. See, in case of stratified random sampling, what will happen? First, what we are going to do is, we are going to divide entire population into subpopulation. No? From each of the subpopulation or stratum, we are going to select the sample once again. That's what we are going to do. So nothing but if the population contains total 10,000 transactions, we will divide it into subpopulations. Right? So I have divided it into subpopulation. From each of the subpopulation, I am going to select a sample. Yes or no? So one of the subpopulation you take. For example, total 10,000 transactions, I have divided into subpopulation. Subpopulation 1, stratum 1. Here 2,000 transactions came. From this, 200 items I have selected as a sample and I got some sample results. These sample results, will I project it to the entire population or will I project it to the stratum from which the sample is selected? Very simple logic. Whatever sample results you get from its stratification from each of the stratum, So whatever sample results are there, first I will evaluate, first I will project it to this subpopulation. So like that, whatever sample results I got from each of the stratum, first I will project it to the subpopulation, then I will evaluate the whole population. You understand? So the question which they are asking here is very much direct, very simple, guys. If you apply your mind, you can. It is a very simple, common sense oriented. Just a little bit of thinking is required from your side, nothing else. So in stratified sampling, the conclusion drawn on each stratum can be directly projected to the whole population. The answer is no. You can't directly project it to the whole population. First, we have to project the sample results to the subpopulation from which that sample is selected. Then you can evaluate the entire population. Not directly you can project it to the whole population. First, you have to project it to subpopulation from which that sample is selected. Then after projections from all the subpopulations, then we can evaluate the whole population. Okay. So this is what this statement is about. Next. With reference to general IT controls, the objective of data center and network operations is to ensure that systems are developed, configured, and implemented to meet the financial reporting objectives. Obviously not. These are not some data center and network operation controls. See, if you are, it is a very much a direct question. When you open the chapter audit in an automated environment, there we have given the definitions. One of the self-study question we have given in our material. So I will show you that. So if we go to the audit in an automated environment chapter, yes. So if you see here, in this question, we have clearly given what is the objective of different internal controls. So what they are telling here with different data center and network operations control is to ensure that systems are developed, configured. No, that controls we have given a separate name which deal with the this one. Application system acquisition, development, and maintenance. These are the controls which will be implemented to ensure that systems are developed, configured, and implemented to meet the financial reporting objectives. So this is not the correct one. This is not data center and network operation control. Regarding these objectives, what controls will be in place? Application system acquisition, development, maintenance controls will be in place, not the data center and network operation controls. Clear, everybody? So this given statement is also was direct question from our material. Next, G point. In the context of related parties, the potential effects of inherent limitations on the auditor's ability to detect the material misstatements are greater. Right? So what they're telling is, whenever there are related party transactions are there, the auditor will be having more inherent limitations. That is what the meaning of this sentence. So in the context of related parties, the potential effects of the inherent limitations on the auditor's ability to detect material misstatements are greater. That means whenever there are related party transactions, the inherent limitations will be more. Obviously, yes. Why? Because if you are able to remember, in inherent limitations, there are others category. In that, what is one of the other category limitation? Extent of related party transactions. So whenever you have related party transactions, definitely there will be more chances of misstatements not getting detected. That means the impact of the inherent limitations will be greater. Why? Because we know the logic. When we have related party transactions, there are more chances for collusion, there are more chances for manipulation, and sometimes they cannot be in the normal course of business. So because of all these factors, related party transactions will provide an opportunity for committing the manipulations. So whenever there is a related party transaction, definitely the effect of inherent limitations will be greater. There are more chances of material misstatements not getting detected. So obviously this statement is true. Clear, everyone? So this statement is very much true. So explanation, what you will write: since the related party transactions will provide scope for manipulations, collusion will be there, some transactions can be outside of the normal course of business. So because of all this, whenever related party transactions are there, the potential effects of inherent limitations to detect the material misstatements will be greater. So like this you can write in 3-4 lines the explanation. Next, the location of description of auditor's responsibilities for the audit of the financial statements is always within the body of the auditor's report. Very much a direct question, guys. The location of what they are telling is your auditor's responsibilities. We all know that when discussing the audit report chapter, we have seen what and all are the contents of the auditor's report. What and all are contents of the audit report we have seen. I hope you all are aware of this. So whenever we have discussed this contents of the audit report, one of the important content of the audit report is what? Auditor's responsibilities. So if you are able to remember title, addressee, opinion, basis for opinion, along with all that, one of the important content is what? Auditor's responsibilities. So definitely, as per SA 700, the auditor's responsibilities where they are required to be given always within the body of the auditor's report, not somewhere outside of the auditor's report. The auditor's responsibility paragraph that should always be located within the body of the auditor's report. Do you agree with this statement? Definitely yes. Why? Because auditor's responsibility paragraph is one of the important content of the auditor's report as per SS 700. So always auditor's responsibility paragraph should be within the body of the audit report only. You cannot include it somewhere else. In the body of the audit report, as a separate side heading, auditor's responsibilities, the paragraph should come. So this statement is also very much true. So the location of the description of the auditor's responsibilities for the audit of the financial statements is always within the body of the auditor's report. So like this, 8 questions they have given for true or false, very much simple, very much straightforward and easy to answer. So if I show you where and all they have been covered, that document. See all the true or false statements, I guess, which are already covered as a part of our material. See here, we have given the references also. So that first question has been taken from the fraud and responsibility. See, I can't exactly pinpoint from which question it has been asked. Why? Because we all know that true or false is somewhat conceptual. From the question, if specific point, they will pick up and ask you as a question. So for your reference, I have given the page numbers also where you can find out. So if you see here, these 8 questions, true or false, everything has been asked from our material only. Everything has been asked from our material. So all these 14 marks are covered from the material. Now, when it comes to guest questions, out of this total 8, how many guest questions, how many are covered from the guest questions? 1, 2, 3, yeah, 3 questions are there which are covered from the guest questions. Clear everyone? So that also very misstatements can arise from fraud only. That if you read the responsibilities of the auditor question, when it comes to fraud, what is the responsibility of the auditor? There is one statement, misstatement can arise from fraud and error also. So from that statement, you can answer that. Similarly, audit documentation and evidence. If you see that question number 3, see assertions. There we have given a separate question. What do you mean by assertions? Assertion definition will be there in the first introductory paragraph. From that only question was asked, from the definition only question was asked. It was there in our guest questions also, right? So for your reference, if you see guest questions, there also I can show you. See in the guest questions, I think we have given it as a part of here. We have given this. See here, assertions. A separate question has been given. Assertion. So from the definition only they have asked, nothing else. Okay. Then this one, audit sampling, that stratification and all, projection and all. So there is a question, projection of misstatements. From that question, this true or false statement has been asked. Okay. So like that, most of the questions are covered. All the questions are there in our material. The first, when it comes to first question, all the sub questions, all the 8 sub questions are covered from our material only, and 3 questions are there which are covered from the guest questions also. Clear everybody? Next. Now, we are done with the true or false statements. Now let us directly jump into the next part, the complete descriptive questions. We will start discussing now. Okay, so let us start discussing from the second question. So I will explain it. I will show you where there is in our where this question is there in our material, whether it was covered in the guest questions or not. We will see that also. So 2A, documentation of audit plan serves as a record of planned nature, timing, extent of risk assessment procedures, and also further audit procedures at the assertion level in response to the assessed risk. What all activities in the planning phase should form part of auditor's documentation? State with examples. Very direct question. What they're telling is, if you document your audit plan, it will act as a evidence how you perform the risk assessment procedures, how you perform the further audit procedures, what risk you have addressed. So if you document your audit plan, it will act as a evidence, definitely. Now, what is the question they're asking after this statement? What activities in the planning stage will you include it as a part of your audit documentation? What and all will form part of your documentation with regard to audit plan? Guys, this question we have in our material. So if we go to the chapter audit documentation and evidence, which was a very much pretty straightforward question. See here. So no, it will form part of our audit strategy planning and program. Chapter number 11. Yes, here. See, very much straightforward question. Write about, if you are able to see this question, I am showing that in the MM material. Write about documentation of overall audit strategy and audit plan. What and all you will document with regard to audit strategy and audit plan. Very much direct question. So let us see whether it is covered in the guest questions or not. Yes, very much covered in the guest questions also. It is directly there from the guest questions. So if I show you evidence whether we have covered it as a part of our guest questions or not, see here, documentation of overall audit strategy, audit plan. So we have very much given it as a part of our guest questions also, directly 4 marks from the guest questions regarding this. Okay, right. I hope everybody is comfortable. Next, 2B. CAB is appointed as an auditor of Mrs. Divine Pharmacy, a wholesale medicine supplier. While auditing for the financial year 2020-21, CAB wants to use test checking technique. Advise CAB what kind of precautions should be taken by him in this regard. Very straightforward question. The auditor wants to go for test checking. What precautions has to be taken care by the auditor before he does this test checking? Guys, this question is also directly there in our MM material. This question is also directly there in our MM material. Let me show you that where it was covered, what kind of precautions are to be taken for yes. See, very much direct question. In the audit sampling under the self-study part, question number 5. Chapter number 12, you see page number reference also we have given 12.8. Question number 5. What precautions are required to be taken while undertaking the test checking? Very much direct question. Directly from our MM material. Right? Next. See. In case of certain subject matters, limitations on the auditor's ability to detect material misstatements are particularly significant. Explains that such assertions or subject matters. What is the question they are asking about? What they are asking is, when it comes to certain subject matters, the limitations of the auditor will be very much significant. Regarding some matters, there will be so many important limitations to the auditor will be there regarding some matters. What are that matters regarding which auditor will face the limitations? Guys, they are nothing but they are referring to inherent limitations only, nothing else. Regarding what subject matters, there will be inherent limitations to the auditor. And particularly they are asking that about the last part, others. 4 others we have given. So if I take you through the main material, in the chapter number 1, nature, objective and scope of audit, we have given an inherent limitations of audit. That question is there. So in that inherent limitations of audit also, he has just changed the terminology and asking you the question. Okay. See, inherent limitations. So these other limitations are there? No. This is what he's asking about. What are the certain subject matters regarding which the limitations of the auditor are significant? When they say limitations of the auditor, what do you mean by that? Inherent limitations. So what are those matters regarding which inherent limitations will be significant? This is what you have to write. Just he has changed the terminology. Even if the point did not strike you, they are speaking about limitations of the auditor. Yes or no? So what are the limitations of the auditor? Inherent limitations. So what you could have written, even if exactly this point did not strike your mind, but when they are speaking about limitations of the auditor, they are referring to inherent limitations only. No, you could have written this entire answer. Still you have scored the marks. Yes or no? So just change in the terminology. Hint is there in the question itself. What are the limitations? Yes or no? They are speaking about inherent limitations. Particularly they are referring to only the 4th point. Even if this 4th point did not strike you, you could have written all the inherent limitations. So that would have given you the marks. If you are able to see here, this question has been given in the guest questions also. Inherent limitations of the audit. See here in the guest questions we have given. What are the inherent limitations of audit? Once again a direct question from the guest questions itself. Right. Next. D point. The statutory auditor of ABC Limited, CA Raj, identifies certain inconsistencies while applying analytical procedures to the financial and non-financial data of ABC Limited. With reference to SA 520 on analytical procedures, how CA Raj shall investigate the differences? Very much straightforward question. There is a company ABC Limited. For this company, a person CA Raj has been appointed as statutory auditor. He performed the analytical procedures. When he performed the analytical procedures, he identified some inconsistencies. How you will investigate? How we will investigate? What we will investigate? We'll try to inquire. We'll try to inquire from the management and those charged with governance. If we are not able to get the evidence, we'll try to obtain alternative audit evidences. Right? We'll communicate with those charged with governance. Same direct question is there in our MM material also. If you go to analytical procedures chapter, in the classroom discussion questions, there will be how to investigate the details of analytical procedures. Like that, a question will be there. See here, how to deal with the investigating results of analytical procedures. So if the auditor identifies fluctuations or relationships that are inconsistent, how he shall investigate? First, he should inquire the management. If the management is not giving satisfactory answers, or if you are not satisfied with the information given by the management, then you will try to perform alternative audit procedures. Very much a direct question. Very, very direct question. Okay, so this is what this question is also there, which is directly from the material. So if you see question number 2, all these 4 sub questions are there from our MEM material. And from these question number 2, 4 plus 3, this question along with this question, 4 plus 3, 7 marks are there directly from the guest questions. Okay, so let us proceed with our next analysis of the next part of the questions. So we will start discussing question number 3. So question number 3A, the auditor shall perform audit procedures designed to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence that all events occurring between the date of financial statements and the date of auditor's report. See, whenever you read this, when you read this sentence, no, events occurring between the date of financial statements and the date of audit report, immediately what should strike your mind? They are talking about subsequent events. And when they are talking about subsequent events, what is the relevant standard? We have SA 560. Immediately it should strike your mind. So, the auditor shall perform audit procedures designed to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence that all events occurring between the date of financial statements and the date of auditor's reports, that is subsequent events that require adjustment or disclosure in the financial statements, have been identified. So, as an auditor, you should be performing some procedures which will help you in identifying the subsequent events. Now, this is a statement which they have given. Let us see what is the question they are asking. So, now the question which they are asking is, with reference to SA 560, what are the audit procedures included in the auditor's risk assessment? So, as per SA 560, what are those audit procedures which will be performed by the auditor to identify the subsequent events? Simply, they are asking what audit procedures are required to be performed by the auditor to identify the subsequent events. Very much a direct question from our material, and more importantly from our guest questions also. So, if you see the guest questions in the standards on auditing, see here, question number 4, audit procedures for identifying subsequent events as per SA 560. Audit procedures for identifying subsequent events as per as 560. Same question they are asking here in the question paper. What procedures will be required by the auditor? So it is a direct question from the guest questions and the direct question from our MM material also. Even the same question we have given under similar questions also in SA 560. So let me show you where it is. See here. So audit procedures. This one from SA 560, page number 9.17. If you see the similar questions, see here. The auditor shall perform audit procedures. Same. Similar question number 1 is there? No. That same question has been asked. The auditor shall perform audit procedures design. So same as it is. Direct question. Okay. So this is also covered from our MM material and also forming part of our guest questions. If we go to next question. CA Rohit is appointed as an auditor of Grace Limited. He wants to design a suitable confirmation request letter for a few debtors of Grace Limited. So now they are talking about confirmation request. So whenever you see this term confirmation request, what should come to your mind immediately? SA 505 should come to your mind. Okay. Next, as a senior auditor of the firm, explain to him with reference to SA 505 external confirmation all the conditions that should be present to use the negative confirmation request as a sole substantive audit procedures to address and assess the risk of material misstatement at the assertion level. So this question is all about, as an auditor, they are asking you to tell when negative confirmation request can be used. So we all know when we are discussing standards on auditing SA 505, when our auditor wants to send external confirmation request can be sent in two ways. One is positive confirmation request, other one is negative confirmation request, right? So positive confirmation request and negative confirmation request, we know what do you mean by positive confirmation request, what do you mean by negative confirmation request. And by explaining SA 505, we have given what conditions should be fulfilled before we want to send a negative confirmation request. So that conditions you have to write. Nothing but first write the meaning of what do you mean by negative confirmation request. Then from SA 505, you write down what are the circumstances in which negative confirmation request can be sent. In the question which is there as a part of our material. Let me show you where this question is covered as a part of our material. So if we see SA 505, so SA 505, see here negative confirmation request, a definition we have given. Along with that, we have given in the following situations the auditor can use negative confirmation procedure. So these are the circumstances in which negative confirmation request can be used. So negative confirmation request definition along with these conditions. That's it. That will suffice. Okay. So this question has also been directly from the material. Next. CAL is in the process of finalizing his risk assessment procedure of Effluent Limited, which include observation and inspection that may support inquiries of management and others. Discuss few examples of audit procedures which include observation or inspection of the entity's operations. So they are speaking about risk assessment procedures in the question. So this question is from which chapter? This question will be from the chapter Risk Assessment and Internal Control. So very much direct question, guys. They are telling risk assessment. The auditor is in the process of finalizing risk assessment procedures and he is doing observation and inspection technique. So we know that from the risk assessment internal control chapter, for performing risk assessment procedures, different methods are available. You can do inquiries, you can do analytical procedures, and another technique which is available is observation and inspection. Now they are specifically asking you to write about only that observation or inspection. What and all you can do in the observation or inspection for performing risk assessment procedures. Direct question from our material and even from the guest questions also. Let me show you. So if we go to risk assessment and internal control chapter number 10. Second question actually. Yes. So see here, second question. So in this second question, if you are able to see here, risk assessment procedures includes what they have given. It includes observation and inspection also. They are only asking you what and all will be included as a part of observation and inspection. When you are using this technique as a risk assessment procedure, what procedures will be included? This paragraph you have to write. Just write a single line meaning of what do you mean by risk assessment procedures, definition you write, then you write what will be included in the observation and inspection. Very much direct question, full marks you will get. This question is even given as part of our guest questions also. See here, risk assessment procedures in light of SA 315. That is nothing but question number 2 of our material. From this material itself, they are asking this question, observation and inspection. Very much straightforward question, both there in our guest questions and also as a part of our material. Next, let us see point number D. So point number D. Forceful Limited is a company dealing in mobile spare parts and having its showrooms in almost all the states in the country. For financial year 2020-21, the company transferred its accounts from manual to computerized systems. Okay, PQR & Co. Chartered Accountants have specialization in the system audit and have been appointed as a system auditor. Very nice. PQR & Co. at the end of audit concludes that there are certain findings or exceptions in the IT environment. This is the important point. And IT controls of the company, which needs to be assessed and reported. Mention those points of consideration. Very much simple, guys. Lot of general information they have given. So some company is there, some person has been appointed as systems auditor, and these auditors, when conducting the system audit, they have some findings or exceptions in the IT environment, and these are required to be reported. What points you have to keep in mind? Very much direct question. Whenever you have some findings or exceptions, what you have to do? You have to report it to the management. When there is significant deficiency, you have to report it to those charged with governance. What do you mean by deficiency? First of all, When the internal control is not there or control is not operating effectively. Same question, how to report IT deviations in IT systems. Same question is there in audit in an automated environment from our material. So let me show you that also. So when we go to this chapter, audit in an automated environment, there this question you will be able to find. So if you are able to see here, discuss how auditors should assess and report the findings. Same question, no? Same question they are asking. The auditor is having some findings or exceptions in the IT environment. They required to be assessed and reported. Whatever findings or exceptions are there in IT environment, those are assessed or required to be reported. Mention those points of consideration. When you want to assess and report these deviations, what points you will keep in mind? What points you will consider? This is what I will do. So at the conclusion of audit, there can be some findings. Whatever findings are there, I have to report it to the management in the form of a letter of weakness. Yes or no? So same answer, direct question from this chapter, which is there in our material directly. So even in question number 3 also, all the 4 sub questions are there from our material, and out of this 4 plus 3, 7 marks are there from the guess questions also. Right? So let us analyze the next question. So first question we are done, second question we are done, third question also we are done. Let us start analyzing from question number 4. Next. CAX, while conducting an audit of Joyful Limited, found a considerable increase in sales as compared to the previous year. He doubts that few fictitious sales have been recorded by the company to overstate its revenues. Discuss any 4 audit procedures to be undertaken by the auditor to ensure revenue from the sale of goods and services performed during the period is not overstated. Nothing guys, this question is directly from the audit of items of financial statements chapter. They want you to write what audit procedures you have to perform to ensure that sales are not overstated. That means whatever sales that are shown in the financial statements that should have actually occurred, they should not have been overstated. They are asking about occurrence assertion. How you will verify occurrence assertion of the sales? A direct question is there in our material in the audit of items of financial statements. Right? So just if you write that occurrence part, occurrence assertion, that alone will be enough. So let me show you that, which is there in our material. Yeah. This one, right about audit procedure for verification of the sales. In that occurrence is there. So just you write this occurrence assertion. They are asking what audit procedures you will perform to ensure that sales are not overstated. That means whatever sales that they have shown in the books of accounts that should have occurred, there should not be overstatement. So they are asking us to write about occurrence assertion. Just write these points. Enough. Full marks you will get. So directly from the material. Next. You have been appointed as an auditor of healthcare service provider. Briefly discuss the special points that should be kept in mind as an auditor for developing audit program. Audit of hospital. From the audit of various entities, they are telling you have been appointed as auditor of a healthcare service provider. Nothing but you are appointed as auditor for some hospital. How you will conduct audit of a hospital? This question I have given it as a part of self-study also. So if you are able to see, this question I have given it as a part of our guest questions also. So if you are able to see here, audit of hospitals. In the guest question I have given, the same question is there in material. So direct question has been asked. Okay, so very much there from our material and also from the guest questions. 4 marks. Next. The value of intangible assets may diminish due to effects of time, use or obsolescence. The diminution of the value represent cost to the entity for earning revenue during a given period. They are telling about amortization of intangible assets. Next. Discuss the audit procedures to be applied by the auditor to ensure that intangible assets have been properly valued as per generally accepted accounting principles. They are asking what audit procedures you will perform to ensure that intangible assets are shown at a correct value. Once again, a direct question from our material and also from the guest questions. So if you are able to see the guest questions here, see here in the audit of items of the financial statements, I have given verification of the intangible assets. See here, verification of the intangible assets. From this only the question is getting asked, which is very much there in our material also. So if you see here, if you want to show me in the material, so intangible assets, I think somewhere around question number 21. Yeah, see question number 21, what audit procedures are required to be performed for intangible assets? Here there is a part valuation. So these points you are required to write. So very much covered from our MM material and also from our guest questions. Next, so MM material is also there, guest questions is also there. Next, Care Limited is an unlisted public limited company. During the financial year 2019-20, the paid up capital of the company, paid up share capital of Care Limited was INR 50 crores and the turnover was 180 crores. During the financial year 2020-21, the board of directors of the company appointed an internal auditor. Whether Care Limited is required to appoint an internal auditor according to the provisions of the Companies Act, very much direct question, guys. They are asking us about applicability of the internal auditor. It is an unlisted public company. Whether unlisted public company is required to, and also they have given some criteria. What is their paid up share capital? What is the turnover they have given? So we have to check whether that criteria is fulfilled or not. And if the criteria is fulfilled, yes, this company is required to make an appointment of internal auditor. So if you want to go through the criteria also that we have given, this question is from company audit chapter actually. See here, I will show you that applicability. Yes, see here. So applicability part you write as it is, and they are asking us about an unlisted public company. So if unlisted public company having any of these four conditions fulfilled, any of the four, not all four conditions are required to be fulfilled. If any of the four conditions fulfills, then they are required to make an appointment of internal auditor. Here the first condition itself will be satisfied. The paid up share capital of the company is how much? 50 crores. So the first condition is satisfied. So the paid up share capital 50 crores or more. Either if it is 50 crores, also the internal audit provisions will be applicable. So the paid up share capital of the company is exactly 50 crores. The first condition got fulfilled. So appointment of internal auditor is required. So just write this applicability provisions and write a concluding line. In the given case, the unlisted in the given case, the company is having a paid up share capital of 50 crores. The condition has been met. So the company is required to make an appointment of internal auditors. Very much direct. So directly given from our MM material, right? So in the question number 4 also, out of this, all the questions are there from our MM material. There is no doubt in that. And out of that, 2 questions are there from our guest questions also. 4 plus 3, 7 questions are there from our guest questions also. Now let us do the analysis of the next part of the questions. Question number 5. Next, question number 5. Shale Industries is an electricity generating company engaged in the generation of electricity for captive consumption. Its gross turnover was INR 68 crores during the immediately preceding financial year. Management of Shale Industries has not maintained any cost records as they felt there is no requirement for them to maintain any cost records or conduct any cost audit. They are asking us about applicability of cost records and cost audit. The turnover of the company has been given as 68 crores and they want to comment us whether the cost audit is applicable or not. Guys, very much simple. So in our company audit chapter, we have given that as a part of our self-study cost audit question. See here. So applicability will be given here. So applicability is what? When the overall the company must be engaged in the production of goods or services, overall turnover is 35 crores or more, right? So in the given case, the company is having a turnover of how much? 68 crores. So overall turnover is more than 35 crores. So maintenance of cost records is required. Maintenance of cost records is required. Now, when it comes to cost audit, there is an exception. A company which is engaged in the generation of electricity for captive consumption. You have to make a note of this. In the given case, in the first statement itself, they are clearly told the recommendations for this company is engaged in generating electricity for captive consumption. So they are exempted from cost audit, but cost records are required to be maintained. When the company is engaged in generation of electricity for captive consumption, cost audit it is exempted, but cost records no exemption is there. So in the given case, what they are telling, management did not maintain cost records, or they did, and also they did not conduct cost audit also. But according to the provisions of the Companies Act, they should have maintained the cost records, but cost audit is not applicable for them. So directly from our material only, applicability. Just write that applicability and write the conclusion appropriately. So direct question from our MM material. Next. The recommendations for appointment of auditors is only one of the several functions performed by the audit committee. Discuss at least 4 other key responsibilities of audit committee in accordance with section 177 of the Companies Act. So now they are asking us about audit committee related provisions, nothing but selection of the auditor. But specific question is, they are asking us about what are the responsibilities of audit committee, which is not actually there in our MM material, but as a part of our classroom discussion, we have told. So audit committee will be responsible for overlooking the auditing functions, right? And they are having several other responsibilities like they oversee financial statements, they approve the financial statements, right? They select the auditor, they decide the remuneration of the auditor. So like this, some functions of the audit committee will be there. So how you can write this answer? First write applicability of audit committee, then write the composition of audit committee, then write functions, these 4 points. So part of the question was covered in our MM material. We did not include that full responsibilities, but part of the question is there in our MM material. So even we have given that as a part of our self-study also regarding selection of auditor. Okay, so that selection of auditor is nothing but about that audit committee related provisions. So that question is there from the self-study questions also. See here, selection of the auditor, which contains the provisions regarding the audit committee related matters. So audit committee along with the part of the question is there in our MM material, and also it is there in the guest questions also. Right, next. See point, list out any 3 circumstances which induces the management or employee to commit the fraud. This question is actually from fraud and responsibilities of auditor. They are asking what are the factors which induce the management. So if you are able to remember, in the fraud and responsibilities of the auditor, we have seen any fraud, either misappropriation or manipulation of accounts. It happens because of 3 reasons. What are they? Pressure or incentive, perceived opportunity, and third one is attitude or rationalization. That 3 matters you have to write. It is, we have given that as a part of our material also. Direct question from our material. Yes, so this one. What are the factors which cause fraudulent financial reporting or misappropriation? It happens because of 3 reasons: pressure, perceived opportunity, rationalization of the individual. This answer we have to write. Directly a question from our MM material. Next. Point number D. Question number D. CA Guru is in the process of preparing the final audit report of JPA Private Limited and would like to disclaim his opinion on the financial statements. Due to inability to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. How CA Group shall amend the description of auditor's responsibilities as required by SA 700. Guys, a direct question is not there in our MM material, but it is a combination. See, what they are telling is the auditor was not able to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, so he thought of giving a disclaimer of opinion. Whenever he is planning to give a disclaimer of opinion, how he will amend the audit report. So we know that opinion paragraph will be changed. The title of opinion paragraph should be changed to disclaimer of opinion. Along with that, basis for disclaimer of opinion, that heading should be changed. And in the auditor's responsibilities paragraph, you should clearly mention, so we have been appointed to conduct the audit, but we are not able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. That's why we are unable to express an opinion. These points should be highlighted in the auditor's responsibility paragraph. So this is not something which is directly from our MM material, but it is an indirect question. It is a combination of 2-3 questions. Okay, so this I will say not entirely covered from our MM material. It is somewhat practical oriented also. Okay, so this question is something which is not completely covered as a part of our MM material. But if you have listened to the classes attentively, you should have written this answer so well. Okay, nothing but they are asking what will be auditor's responsibilities when giving a disclaimer of opinion, right? So we will change the titles, and along with that, in the auditor's responsibility paragraph, we will add some 2-3 lines. So we are in the given case, we are not able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. We are not able to express the opinion. Like the 2-3 points, you will add it in the responsibility paragraph. That's it. Okay, so this is what question number 5D is about. So from this question, I think one of the question is from guest questions, and 3 questions are covered from our MM material. 1 question is not completely covered from our MM material. Next, 6th question, if you see 6A, N Limited has been sanctioned a cash credit facility by XYZ Bank Limited for INR 1 crore, and drawing power as per the stock statement finished for the last quarter is INR 80 lakhs. Outstanding balance in the account is 75 lakhs. Interest charged to the account is 3.5 lakhs. And total credit into the account for the quarter is 2.5 lakhs. As an auditor, how you will report this account in your report? Nothing but guys, they gave a color of the practical question, but indirectly they are asking you about how to conduct audit of drawing power. Very much clear, no? So they are given a sanction limit of how much? 1 crore rupees. What is the drawing power? 80 lakh rupees. And out of this drawing power, what is the amount actually utilized? Outstanding balance is 75 lakhs. Interest was 3.5 lakhs. Interest accrued. So totally 78.5 lakhs. From these 78.5 lakhs, you have a credit. Credit of how much? 2.5 lakhs was actually paid also. Okay, so when the account is uh, the account is within the drawing power and the sanction limit. The account is both within the drawing power and also within the sanction limit. So nothing but write just a few points regarding how to conduct audit of the drawing power. That question we have, it is there in our bank, in your material, and also in our self-study questions also we have given. So let me show you that in the self-study questions we have given it in the bank audit, from the bank audit chapter. So we have specifically given that question. Yeah, see here, audit of drawing power we have given. Okay, so he thought of giving it a color of this practical question, but the question is very much direct. He wants you to write what are the auditor's responsibilities regarding cash credit facility. So mainly drawing power. So we have to ensure that all the accounts are within the drawing power and sanction limit or not. And if any account exceeds the drawing power or sanction limit, it should be brought to the notice of the top level management or head office at reasonable intervals. So it is an indirect question of drawing power, how to conduct audit power, how to conduct audit of the drawing power. The question which is there in our material and which is also there as a part of our guest questions. Next, for this a choice has been given. Define government audit and explain its objectives. This is also something which we not have covered in our material. So just they are asking about what do you mean by government audit and what are its objectives. This conducting audit of a governmental enterprises. So like that, one general introduction information will be there. From that they have asked a question. This we have not actually covered as a part of material. Guys, that's what I am telling. I am not telling 100% of the questions are for material, because this is not something 10th or 12th exam where we expect all the questions directly from our material. So there will always be some new questions which you are not aware. So we have to take that risk. So this question we have not actually covered. But anyway, the choice has been given with the bank audit related question. Right? Next. 6B, if you see, you have been appointed as an auditor of VJM schools. Discuss the points which merit your consideration as an auditor while verifying assets and liabilities of VJM schools. Nothing but audit of an educational institution. So this is there in our material, and I think we have already given it as a part of our guest questions also. So if you see the guest questions, yeah, see here, audit of educational institution, direct question. Okay, so directly from our material, along with that, it is there in the guest questions also. Material along with the guest questions. Next, see, Tomo Constructions Engineering LLP approached CAK to understand various returns to be maintained and filed by them. Guide or discuss the various returns to be maintained and filed by them. Very much simple question. This question is also from audit of various entities. One question we have given how to conduct audit of LLP. In that question we have explained what are the documents which are required to be filed. So we have seen that annual return is required to be submitted. Statement of account and solvency. Let me show where that question is there in our material. So if we go to audit of various entities, the last question of the chapter, see here, yeah, this one, audit of LLP. In that LLP question, see here we have given what are the documents which are required to be filed with the ROC. So they have to file annual return, they have to file statement of account and solvency, in what format, what time limit, and what are the powers of the register. So like that, what documents are required to be filed. Regarding this, the question is about. Clear, everybody? So this is what we have to write in the answer. Okay, directly from our material only. Next, D point. D question. Discuss the advantages of engagement team discussion done at the planning stage of the bank audit. So we all know that while conducting the bank audit, conducting an engagement team discussion is very much required. And what are the advantages of engagement team discussion? We have seen that it promotes better understanding. It will help the experienced team members to share the insights. Yes or no? So this question is there in our material. Along with that, we have it in our guest questions also. So if we see from the bank audit, so we have given it as a part of our guest questions. See here, engagement team discussion, right? So if you are able to see here, engagement team discussion about understanding of the bank. So we have given it as a part of our self-study. We have given it as a part of our guest questions, and also it is covered from the material also. In the material, if you go to the bank audit chapter, I will show you that question, and with that we have done the analysis of the entire paper. Yeah, see this question number 7. While conducting bank audit, the engagement team shall discuss and document about understanding of the audit of the bank. So in this question only, what matters are required to be discussed, what are the advantages of the discussion, direct question from our MM material, same question has been given under guest questions, and direct question came from here also. So like this, in this 6D also, all the questions except this choice, explain government audit and audit its objectives, leaving this question apart, all the questions are from MM material and part of the questions are there from our guest questions also. Guys, with this we have done the analysis of the entire question paper. So by now, you might have got a clarity. You might have got a clarity about the significance of going through the guest questions and significance of following the our masterminds material. So this is a proof for you guys how much questions are getting covered from our MM material and how many questions are getting covered from our guest questions. So this is our entire objective why we have done this video. Hope this has helped you a lot and brought so many points to your attention. Okay, and if you want, for your easy reference, we have created this document also along with the page number references from which page number you can find this question, right? So from which page number and from which case question this question has been asked, how it is related. So all this we have given it as a part of we have summarized in this document also. Okay, so this is about the analysis of this question paper. So guys, who have done enough of preparation from your side, so those people would have answered this question paper very easily, and I hope you all have also done very well in your respective examination. That's all from my side. That's all from this video. This is what our objective in doing this video. I hope this video has helped you and instilled a confidence among you. So that's all from our side, guys. All the best and do the rest of the exams very well. Take care, everybody. Bye. All the very best.